You are going to pay more for a house in 2024, or are you? Recently, the Georgia MLS, or multiple listing service, which houses most all of the listings in the state of Georgia, published their numbers from 2023, and I think there are a few interesting takeaways from this data and a small hint at what we might expect here in 2024. Zillow also had some interesting thoughts on what we could expect here in North Georgia. So are we headed for a crash or just the opposite? Or maybe somewhere in between? Hi, I'm Sarah Maslowski with KeyPoint Homes Group, a local real estate agent right here in the North Metro Atlanta area, and I specialize in helping clients from all over the country and the world relocate here to Georgia. So what does the real estate market here look like now, and what can you expect for the rest of 2024? All right, let's start by taking a look at the data that I mentioned from the Georgia MLS compared to 2022. Now, when we take a look at that, there were 15% less homes for sale, with a 12% decrease in sales volume. And that makes sense. There was less houses available for sale, so therefore less home sales. Now, the average sales price, however, went up just shy of 2%. And now keep in mind that the Georgia MLS is covering a large geographic area. So on average, 2% jump, and some places experience much higher jumps in home prices. Now, the reason we had so few listings was because homeowners did not want to sell their homes that they most likely had refinanced in the last few years or recently bought and locked in an interest rate below 4%. Over 70% of homeowners right now in the market have an interest rate less than 5%. Obviously, those sellers did not want to lose that great interest rate just to turn around and buy a home with a high 7 or even 8% interest rate, which we hit in 2023. So there was very little inventory to choose from because of these inflated interest rates. One thing we have all heard is that the Fed is planning on reducing interest rates a few times this year. And they're going to be reducing the Fed interest rate, which, although it's not directly tied to mortgage interest rates, they do go hand in hand. So it is a good indicating factor that we can expect to see mortgage rates fall throughout 2024. And this means that we are going to see a lot of new buyers enter the market because they have been waiting for a more affordable time to purchase. However, the more people there are actively trying to purchase homes, the higher housing prices will rise. I just mentioned how home prices increased in 2023 despite interest rates being at the highest we have seen in almost 20 years. Now, if prices still rose at one of the most expensive times to buy, can you imagine what will happen when interest rates drop and there is more competition, which is one of the biggest driving factors in prices increasing. Now, I don't expect that we're going to see the utter chaos that we did in the market like we saw in 2021 and 2022, but there will definitely be more competition in 2024 than there was in 2023. As we head into spring, we will naturally see an increase in inventory. With the holidays over, people are settled and are ready to start the new year in a new area, or they're gearing up for retirement and are ready to downsize or relocate. We naturally see more homes come on the market around March and April, so this is going to help alleviate the severe lack of options that we have been seeing over the past couple of months. Now, what you won't see is prices getting any lower, because despite where interest rates are, people are still moving into the North Metro Atlanta area for a plethora of reasons. I know this for certain because I helped over 60 families do exactly this last year. Recently, Zillow published an article with their housing market predictions, and no surprise, at least not to me, Atlanta was number 6 on their list of predicted hottest real estate markets for 2024. They based their predictions on several factors, including expected home value growth, projected change in owner-occupied households, and job growth compared to new construction. One of their data scientists also said, quote, "Housing markets are healthiest where affordable home prices and strong employment are giving young hopefuls a real shot at buying and starting to build equity." Now, we might not have what most people would consider very affordable home prices, but we do absolutely have very strong employment. Like we have talked about before, Atlanta is home to 35 Fortune 1000 companies headquartered here. 19 of those are Fortune 500 companies like the Home Depot, UPS, Delta, and the Coca-Cola Company. Alpharetta is known as the technology hub of the South and has one of the largest concentrations of high-tech firms in a single community. These are thriving employers, and like I mentioned earlier, I have personally worked with a large number of clients who are moving here specifically because their jobs are bringing them here. If we take take a look at some of the areas we help the most, the data matches exactly what Zillow is predicting. The median home price in Alpharetta, according to the other MLS system, which is FMLS, the home prices were up 29% compared to 2022. Cumming saw a rise in home prices of 21%, Swanee 4%, Brazelton 5%, and Gainesville 8%. You can see a common theme here, right? One thing is for certain, home prices will be more expensive throughout the year in 2024. Now, some predict that things will still be slow going this year in terms of the amount of homes available for sale, but all of this will depend on whether or not interest rates will drop. This is the biggest factor in whether or not we will see an increase in demand and an increase in inventory. Now, one thing I think we are going to see is that if these interest rates drop, we will see more sellers putting their home on the market. Like I mentioned earlier though, we will not see anything like what happened in 2021 and 2022 when it comes to interest rates. But I do think we are going to see an increase in terms of demand and listings than what we saw in 2023. And one thing that comes with increase in demand is more competition among buyers competing for what few homes are available out there. Even if we have an increase in inventory, I still don't see where that increase in inventory is going to match the increase in demand. We already have an outsized demand inventory problem. The reason currently right now we are seeing some listings get multiple offers, and that is because there are so few houses to choose from. So when a good house gets listed, there are people who are waiting in the shadows to jump at the chance for a home. So they rush to make an offer. Those are the people who have recently moved here for a job and are stuck in a rental until they can find a home, or who just had, let's say, a baby and they're currently busting at the seams where they're currently at. You get it. There's lots of life events that cause people wanting to move. Now, obviously, I don't have a crystal ball and I can't predict exactly what is going to happen, but I do think it's a very fair analysis to say that whatever happens with interest rate, it is going to directly impact what happens in the real estate market. Now, yes, there are circumstances that will always cause people to move, like death, divorce, babies, and job changes. But interest rate levels also have a big impact on those that aren't going through those big life changes. Recently, I was doing a live stream talking about the return of bidding wars, which, by the way, on the first and third Wednesday of every single month, I do a live stream where I answer all of your questions about the real estate market and making a move here to the North Metro Atlanta area. So make sure you tune in for that and subscribe to my channel to get notified when that's happening. Someone left the comment that mortgage rates will not change real estate market much. Now, I would be very interested to hear the thought process behind this, because if you'll recall, when interest rates dropped down to 2% range, the real estate market went bananas and absolutely exploded. When interest rates hiked their way up to 8%, many people saw things coming to a screeching halt, yet we still had a lot of homes that were purchased for sale even at those interest rates. And as we saw from the data, home prices still increased year over year. If you look at the comparison of what your purchasing power looked like back when you could land a 2.75% interest rate, if you were buying a $440,000 home, your monthly payment ended around just shy of $1,800. Now, let's fast forward to just a few months ago when we saw interest rates make their way up to 8%. If you were trying to buy that same $440,000 house with an 8% interest rate, it would cost you around $3,200 a month. That's a $1,400 difference per month, or $16,800 per year for the very same house. This difference absolutely changes things for buyers and the amount of people who are willing and able to buy homes that it's going to impact the housing market. So at the end of the day, what direction interest rates move in will dictate the amount of competition we will see. But Atlanta and its surrounding suburbs will have higher competition than other parts of the country just because of our strong job force. So what do you think? Are you considering making a move to Georgia? If so, I want to be your real estate agent, and I have helped dozens and dozens of people relocate here to the North Metro Atlanta area, and I would love to be part of your move. You can book a call with me below, and you can find the link in my pinned comment. Also, if you are considering moving here, make sure you check out this video next.